Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Learn English with Podcast Conversation, where we help you improve your English by engaging in real, everyday conversations. Today's topic is one we're all excited about, talking about your ideal vacation. Whether you dream of relaxing on a tropical beach or exploring the mountains, we'll dive into how you can talk about your dream getaway in English.
That's right, and remember, listening to conversations like this one is a great way to boost your communication skills. As you follow along, you'll improve your listening, pick up new vocabulary, and learn how to express your thoughts more clearly. Plus, you'll be able to use this in everyday conversations and, who knows, maybe in your next English-speaking travel adventure.
Exactly. So let's get started. In each segment, we'll chat about our own dream vacations, and we'll also give you tips on how to structure your responses when talking about vacations in English. Ready to jump in, Thomas?
Absolutely. Let's go. Get comfortable and picture yourself on your perfect vacation. We'll help you talk about it like a pro.
So, if I were to talk about my ideal vacation, the first thing that comes to mind is a tropical beach. I love the idea of lying on a white sand beach with crystal clear waters in front of me. The sound of the waves crashing, a gentle breeze, and no stress at all, just pure relaxation.
That sounds incredible, Jennifer. I can already imagine you with a book in one hand and a coconut drink in the other. For me, an ideal vacation is all about finding a balance between adventure and relaxation. I'd go somewhere like Bali, where I can hike in the morning, explore temples, and then head back to the beach for a swim and sunset. It's the perfect combination of activities and relaxation.
That's such a good point. Some people, like you, enjoy vacations with a mix of excitement and downtime. When I think about it, I'd probably do the same. Maybe after a few days of lounging on the beach, I'd want to try something more active, like snorkeling or even visiting a nearby island to explore its culture.
Yeah, having a mix of activities definitely makes a vacation more memorable. You come back feeling like you experienced something new, but also got to recharge. When you talk about your dream vacation, it's great to include those little details, whether it's about the food, the culture, or the nature around you. It really helps paint a picture for the listener.
Exactly. And speaking of culture, I'd love to go somewhere with rich traditions. Maybe a place where I can learn about the local lifestyle, try their food, and even participate in local festivals. That would be an experience that stays with you forever.
Totally agree. When you mention culture, it reminds me of Japan. Exploring the old temples in Kyoto, learning about tea ceremonies, and seeing the beautiful cherry blossoms. That would be a dream come true for me. It's both peaceful and culturally enriching.
On the other hand, if we move away from beaches, I can totally see myself enjoying a vacation in the mountains. Waking up to the crisp mountain air, surrounded by trees and wildlife, sounds amazing. I'd love to spend my days hiking and my evenings by a campfire. What about you, Thomas?
Oh, I'm with you on that. There's something so peaceful about being in the mountains. For me, it would be the Swiss Alps. Just imagining the snow-capped peaks, scenic trails, and cozy cabins makes me want to pack my bags right now. I'd spend my mornings hiking and afternoons enjoying the views, maybe with a nice cup of hot chocolate.
The Swiss Alps are on my list too, and I love the idea of escaping the hustle and bustle of daily life, where you're surrounded by nature. The quiet, the fresh air, it's the perfect way to reset. Talking about mountains in your ideal vacation can also be a great way to connect with people who love nature and adventure.
Definitely. And when you describe your ideal mountain vacation, don't forget to mention specific activities like hiking, skiing, or even just sitting by a fire with a good view. It gives the listener a better sense of what you enjoy and why it's special to you.
Exactly. And if I were to add a little more excitement to my mountain vacation, I might go for something adventurous, like ziplining through the forest or even paragliding, just to get the adrenaline pumping.
That sounds thrilling. I think adding those adventurous elements shows you're open to new experiences, which is always a great thing to highlight in conversations. Plus, it gives people more to relate to, especially if they're into outdoor adventures too.
For those who love city life, an ideal vacation might look completely different. I can see myself enjoying a city like Paris or New York, where there's so much to explore. Museums, cafes, historical landmarks, and a lot of people watching.
Exactly. I've always been fascinated by cities with a lot of history and culture. A city vacation, like a trip to London or Tokyo, would be amazing. The energy of a bustling city, combined with opportunities to learn about its history and culture, really makes for a fulfilling trip.
And when you talk about your ideal city vacation, it's great to mention specific places or activities. For example, I'd say something like, I'd love to stroll down the streets of Paris, visiting art galleries and ending the day with a view of the Eiffel Tower. It really brings your dream to life for the listener.
That's so true. And for me, if I were in Tokyo, I'd love to explore the blend of old and new, the ancient temples alongside the modern skyscrapers. Plus, trying all the amazing Japanese food would definitely be on my to-do list.
Food is a huge part of city vacations. When I think of New York, I imagine grabbing a hot dog in Central Park or enjoying a slice of pizza while walking through Times Square. It's the little things like that that make city vacations so memorable.
Absolutely, and mentioning these little cultural elements in conversation makes your ideal vacation sound more vivid. People can easily picture it, and it adds more to the discussion.
So let's talk about finding the perfect balance between relaxation and adventure. Sometimes the ideal vacation is a combination of both. For me, I'd start with a few days of total relaxation, maybe at a spa or a quiet beach, and then move into more adventurous activities like hiking or exploring a new city.
I love that idea. I think many people feel the same, wanting to relax, but also have the option to do something exciting. For example, you could spend the first half of your vacation relaxing by a pool in a resort, then use the second half to explore the surrounding areas, try local cuisine, or go on an excursion.
Exactly. For me, a perfect day on vacation might start with a calm morning, maybe a yoga session by the beach, followed by a thrilling afternoon like going on a boat tour or taking a hike through the forest. That way, you get the best of both worlds.
That's a great way to structure it. You don't have to choose between relaxing and being adventurous. You can do both. When you talk about your ideal vacation in this way, it shows that you like to keep things balanced, which can resonate with a lot of people.
And it's also a good way to keep everyone happy if you're traveling with friends or family. Some people prefer to relax, while others want to be more active. By mixing both, you can ensure everyone enjoys the trip.
Exactly. And when you describe it, you can highlight how you'd start the day with something relaxing and gradually build up to more exciting activities. It gives the listener a clear picture of how you'd like to spend your vacation and what makes it special to you.
Let's talk about how long the ideal vacation should be. For me, I'd say 10 days is the perfect length, not too short, not too long. It gives you enough time to relax, explore, and really settle into vacation mode without feeling rushed. I completely agree. A week to 10 days is just right. It gives you that sweet spot where you're not in a hurry, but you also don't get bored. I think if it's any shorter, you feel like you haven't had enough time to really enjoy yourself. Exactly. You want to feel like you've had time to unwind, but also that you've had enough adventure or cultural experiences to make the trip memorable. For me, anything shorter than a week feels rushed, while anything longer than 2 weeks might start to drag a bit.
That's true. And another thing is, after a long vacation, sometimes it's hard to get back into your normal routine. So having a balanced vacation length, enough time to fully relax and enjoy, but not so long that you lose your routine, works best.
Absolutely. And when we're talking about vacations, it's important to mention that everyone has different preferences. Some people love short weekend trips, while others want a month-long getaway. It really depends on what you need to recharge.
Yes, and when you share your ideal vacation length in conversations, it's a great way to understand what others enjoy as well. You might find that your perfect vacation length is different from someone else's, which can lead to more interesting conversations about how different people approach relaxation and travel.
Definitely, it's all about finding what works best for you and being open to new experiences. Vacations are a time to recharge and refresh, whether that's for a few days or a few weeks. Now let's talk about budgeting for your ideal vacation. For me, I think a balance between comfort and affordability is key. I'd rather spend a bit more on experiences and activities than on luxury accommodations. What about you, Thomas?
I'm with you on that. I prefer to save on hotels or flights so I can splurge on activities, food, or excursions. To me, the experiences are what really make a trip memorable. I don't need a fancy hotel, just a clean and comfortable place to rest.
Exactly. When I'm budgeting for a vacation, I try to prioritize things that will give me lasting memories, like a cooking class in Italy or a snorkeling trip in the Maldives. Those are the things that stay with you long after the trip is over.
That's a smart approach. I think a lot of people get caught up in spending too much on hotels or flights and forget that the real magic of a vacation happens when you explore and engage with the local culture. Plus, you can always find ways to save on accommodations or transportation if you plan ahead.
Definitely. And another good tip for budgeting is to be flexible with your travel dates. Sometimes flying a day earlier or later can save you a lot of money. It's all about being smart with how you plan, so you can enjoy your trip without breaking the bank.
That's so true. And when you're talking about vacations, sharing your tips on how to save money or budget smartly can be really helpful for others who might not have considered these options.
Exactly. Vacations don't have to be super expensive to be enjoyable. It's all about making the most of your time and money, so you can focus on creating great memories. Let's shift gears and talk about whether you prefer traveling solo or with a group. Personally, I love the freedom that comes with solo travel. You can set your own schedule, do exactly what you want to do, and there's something empowering about navigating new places on your own.
That's a great point. I enjoy solo travel too, but I also love group travel, especially with close friends or family. There's something fun about sharing those experiences with others and creating memories together. Plus, group travel often leads to spontaneous adventures that you might not have planned on your own.
True, with group travel, you get the social aspect, which can be a lot of fun. You can split costs for things like accommodations and transportation, and it's always great to have someone to share the highlights with. But I think it depends on the destination and what you're hoping to get out of the trip.
Exactly. If it's a more laid-back trip, like a beach vacation, group travel is fantastic because it's all about relaxing and spending time together. But if you're looking for something more adventurous, like hiking in the mountains or exploring a new city, solo travel gives you the freedom to explore at your own pace.
That's so true. One of the great things about solo travel is that it pushes you out of your comfort zone. You meet new people, you have to navigate challenges on your own, and that can be really rewarding. It's a great way to grow personally.
Absolutely, but I think there's also value in group travel for the shared experiences. Sometimes the funniest or most memorable moments happen when you're with others. And when you get back home, you have those stories to reminisce about together.
Yes, and when you're discussing your ideal vacation with others, it's great to share whether you prefer to travel alone or with a group. It gives insight into your personality and how you like to spend your time. Let's talk about accommodations for a minute. When it comes to your ideal vacation, do you prefer staying in hotels, vacation rentals, or something more unique like a cabin or a boutique inn? For me, I love the charm of boutique hotels or small inns. They often have a more personal touch and feel more connected to the local culture.
That's interesting. I usually go for vacation rentals, especially if I'm staying somewhere for a longer period of time. I like having a kitchen so I can cook some meals, and it gives me a bit more space to relax. Plus, vacation rentals often have a more homey feel.
That's true, especially if you're traveling with family or a group. Vacation rentals give you more room to spread out and feel comfortable. But for a short getaway, I think a cozy inn or a unique boutique hotel can really add to the experience. Sometimes the place you stay can be part of the adventure itself.
I agree. And for more adventurous trips, like staying in a cabin in the mountains or a beachside bungalow, the accommodation can really set the mood for the vacation. It's not just a place to sleep, it becomes part of the whole experience.
Exactly. When I think of my ideal vacation, I imagine staying somewhere that's not just convenient, but also adds to the overall vibe of the trip. Whether it's a rustic cabin with a view or a charming bed and breakfast, the accommodation can really make a difference.
And when you talk about your ideal vacation with others, sharing your preferences for accommodation can lead to a lot of interesting conversations. People have such different ideas about what makes the perfect place to stay.
That's so true. Some people want all the luxury amenities, while others are fine with something simple and comfortable. It's all about finding what suits your travel style. One of my favorite parts of traveling is getting to know the local culture. For me, an ideal vacation always includes time to explore the local customs, try traditional food, and meet local people. How about you, Thomas?
Same here. I think the best way to make a vacation truly memorable is to dive into the local culture. Whether it's visiting historical sites, attending a local festival, or even taking a cooking class, it's all about experiencing life as the locals do.
Exactly. I love trying the local cuisine. Food is such a big part of culture, and tasting traditional dishes gives you a real sense of the place you're visiting. Plus, it's a fun way to learn about local ingredients and cooking techniques.
That's so true. I remember taking a street food tour in Thailand, and it was one of the highlights of my trip. Not only did I get to try amazing food, but I also learned so much about the local way of life through the stories our guide shared.
That sounds amazing. It's those kinds of experiences that really stick with you. When you immerse yourself in the culture, whether it's through food, language, or local traditions, you come away with a deeper understanding of the place you visited.
Absolutely. And when you talk about your ideal vacation, mentioning your interest in the local culture can show that you're not just a tourist, but someone who really wants to engage with the destination in a meaningful way.
Yes, it's all about making connections with the people and the place. For me, that's what turns a good vacation into an unforgettable one. Another interesting aspect of planning your ideal vacation is deciding what time of year to go. Some people love summer vacations, but for me, I actually prefer traveling in the off-season, when it's quieter and less crowded. How about you, Thomas?
I'm with you on that. Traveling during the off-season has so many benefits: fewer tourists, lower prices, and a more relaxed atmosphere. Plus, you get to see places in a different light. For example, visiting a popular beach destination in the fall or winter can give you a completely different experience.
Exactly, and sometimes traveling in the off-season lets you experience local festivals or events that you might miss during peak tourist times. I've also found that locals are often more relaxed and welcoming during the off-season, which can make your trip even more enjoyable.
That's a great point. The off-season can also be a great time to explore nature destinations, like national parks or hiking trails, when the weather is cooler and the landscapes are less crowded.
Definitely. It's all about finding the right balance between the type of vacation you want and the time of year that suits your preferences. For example, if you love winter sports, traveling in the colder months might be ideal, while beach lovers might prefer the summer.
Exactly. And when you talk about your ideal vacation, sharing your preferred season for travel can add another layer to the conversation. It gives people a sense of when you feel most comfortable or excited to explore new places.
Totally. Whether it's a summer beach getaway or a winter wonderland adventure, choosing the right season can make your vacation even more special. Let's talk about budgeting for your ideal vacation. Some people love to splurge on luxury experiences, while others prefer to keep things simple and affordable. For me, I like to find a balance. I'll splurge on something special like a nice dinner or a unique activity, but I also like to save by staying in budget-friendly accommodations or using public transportation.
I'm the same way. I believe in spending money where it really counts, like on experiences you'll never forget. But for other things, like hotels or flights, I try to find deals or stick to a budget. I'd rather put my money towards something that will give me a great memory, like a cooking class or a guided tour of a historical site.
That's a smart approach, and there are so many ways to save while traveling. For example, if you plan ahead, you can find discounted tickets for museums or attractions. And eating where the locals do is often not only cheaper, but also a more authentic experience.
Exactly. Budgeting doesn't mean you have to miss out on anything. It just means being mindful about where you want to spend your money. For example, if you're willing to be flexible with your travel dates, you can often find cheaper flights or accommodations.
Right, and it's also about prioritizing what's important to you. Some people love staying in luxury hotels, while others, like us, might prefer to spend that money on experiences or local activities. It's all about what makes your vacation feel special.
And that's something important to mention when discussing your ideal vacation. Your budget reflects your travel priorities, whether you prefer to spend on experiences, food, or accommodations.
Exactly, and finding the right balance in your budget can really make your vacation more enjoyable because you won't be stressed about overspending, and you can focus on making the most of your trip. Now, when it comes to your ideal vacation, do you prefer an active, adventure-filled trip, or do you like to relax and take it easy? For me, I like a mix of both. I enjoy having a few days of adventure, like hiking or exploring, but I also like to set aside time to just unwind and enjoy the scenery.
I'm definitely more on the active side. I love vacations where I can do something adventurous every day, whether it's hiking, biking, or even learning something new like surfing. For me, staying active helps me feel energized and makes the vacation more memorable.
That's awesome. I think it's great to fill your days with activities, especially if you're visiting a new place with a lot to offer. But I also think having some downtime is important, even if it's just for an afternoon, to relax and take in the experience without rushing.
I can see that. Sometimes after a day of activities, it's nice to have a quiet evening to unwind. But for me, the thrill of trying new things is what makes the trip exciting. I always try to push myself out of my comfort zone on vacations, whether it's through a challenging hike or exploring a new city by foot.
I totally get that. It's those adventurous moments that often turn into the best stories when you get back home. But I think it's important to find a balance. Maybe one day is packed with activities, and the next is more relaxed, just enjoying the views or the local food.
That's a good point. It's really about finding what works for you and what you enjoy. Some people love the non-stop action, while others need that relaxation time to recharge. And when you're talking about your ideal vacation, sharing whether you're more of an adventurer or a relaxer says a lot about your travel style.
Exactly. It's all about personal preference, and there's no right or wrong way to spend your vacation. Whether you're hiking up a mountain or lounging by the pool, as long as you're enjoying yourself, that's what matters. Another important part of discussing your ideal vacation is whether you prefer to plan everything in advance or go with the flow. I'm definitely more of a planner. I like to have a rough itinerary, know what I want to see, and book things like accommodations and activities ahead of time.
That's interesting. I'm the complete opposite. I love the spontaneity of not having a strict plan. I'll book my flight and maybe the first night's accommodation, but after that, I like to explore and see where the trip takes me. It feels more adventurous that way.
That sounds exciting, but I think I'd be too nervous not knowing where I'm going to stay or what I'm going to do. I like the security of having things planned out, even if it's just the basics. It helps me relax and enjoy the trip without worrying about what comes next.
I get that. I think it comes down to personal comfort levels. Some people need that structure to feel relaxed, while others, like me, find excitement in the unknown. I like the idea of discovering hidden gems or taking recommendations from locals as I go.
That's a great point. Sometimes the best experiences happen when you're open to change. Even as a planner, I've had moments where I've deviated from my itinerary and ended up having an amazing time. But I still like to have at least a basic plan in place.
I think that's the key, having a balance between planning and spontaneity. Maybe plan the major things like flights and accommodations, but leave some room for flexibility. That way, you get the best of both worlds.
Exactly. And when you're talking about your ideal vacation, it's interesting to share whether you're more of a planner or someone who goes with the flow. It gives people a better understanding of how you like to travel.
Definitely. It's all about finding what works for you and what makes the trip enjoyable. Whether you plan every detail or just go with the flow, as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. Let's finish this part of the conversation by talking about souvenirs. When you're on vacation, do you like to bring back souvenirs? And if so, what kinds of things do you typically buy? Oh, I love bringing back souvenirs, but I try to avoid the usual touristy stuff. Instead, I look for things that remind me of the local culture, like handmade crafts or something unique to that region. I also like collecting small pieces of art from local artists.
That's a great idea. I'm the same way. I love finding something meaningful that really captures the essence of the place. I usually look for things like pottery, jewelry, or even a special food item that I can't get at home.
Yes, food souvenirs are the best. Whether it's spices, tea, or a local snack, it's fun to bring a little taste of your trip back home with you. I also like to take photos and create a travel journal, so even if I don't buy a lot of souvenirs, I have those memories to look back on.
That's such a good idea. A travel journal is a wonderful way to remember your trip and reflect on your experiences. I like to do something similar, writing down little details or moments that stood out to me, along with photos of places I visited.
Exactly. It's all about capturing the essence of your trip in a way that's personal and meaningful. When you talk about your ideal vacation, souvenirs can be a fun part of the conversation because they show what you value and how you want to remember your travels.
Yes, and whether it's a handcrafted item, a local food, or even just a beautiful memory, the souvenirs you bring back can be a great way to share your vacation with others. Now let's talk about dream vacation destinations. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? For me, my dream destination is Japan. I've always been fascinated by the culture, the food, and the beautiful mix of modern cities and traditional landscapes. I would love to explore Tokyo's vibrant neighborhoods and then spend time in more peaceful areas like Kyoto, with its temples and gardens.
Japan is definitely high on my list too, but if I had to choose just one dream destination, it would be New Zealand. The natural beauty there is breathtaking. I'd love to go hiking in the mountains, visit the beaches, and maybe even try some adventure sports like bungee jumping or zip lining. It's the perfect destination for someone who loves the outdoors.
New Zealand sounds incredible. I've seen photos of the landscapes there, and it looks like something out of a fantasy world. I can see why it would be a dream destination for you. There's so much to do, whether you want to relax and enjoy the scenery or get your adrenaline pumping with outdoor activities.
Exactly. That's what I love about it. You can have a relaxing vacation in nature or an action-packed adventure. And because New Zealand is known for being eco-friendly, it would feel good to travel there and experience a place that values sustainability.
That's such an important point. When choosing a dream destination, the environmental impact is something I think more travelers are starting to consider. For me, Japan's focus on harmony with nature is one of the things that makes it so appealing. They have such beautiful natural spaces and a culture that respects the environment.
Absolutely. Whether you're traveling to a dream destination like Japan or New Zealand, being mindful of how your trip impacts the environment is important. Plus, it can make the experience even more rewarding when you know you're traveling responsibly.
That's true. And talking about your dream vacation is a great way to show what you value in a trip, whether it's culture, adventure, or sustainability. Another fun part of planning your ideal vacation is deciding whether to travel alone or with others. Personally, I love traveling with friends or family because it makes the experience more memorable. I enjoy sharing those special moments, and it's always nice to have someone to talk to or help with navigating new places.
I agree. While I've traveled alone a few times and enjoyed the independence, I think traveling with others is more fun. You get to share the excitement, and it's nice to have someone else to explore with. Plus, when you're traveling with friends or family, it can make you feel more comfortable trying new things or going to unfamiliar places.
Definitely, and having people with you can also make a vacation less stressful. You can share responsibilities, like figuring out directions or planning activities, and you always have someone to help if things don't go as planned.
That's a great point. Traveling with a group also gives you the opportunity to try different things. Maybe one person is into hiking while another loves visiting museums, so you get a mix of activities that you might not have done if you were alone.
Exactly. It's also a way to bond with the people you're traveling with. I've found that some of my best memories with friends and family have been made while we were on vacation together, exploring new places and sharing experiences.
Same here. And when you're discussing your ideal vacation in an interview or casual conversation, it's interesting to share whether you'd prefer to travel alone or with others. It gives insight into how you approach travel and what you value in a trip.
That's true. Whether you enjoy solo adventures or group trips, talking about it helps people understand your travel style and what makes a vacation special for you. Let's move on to one of my favorite parts of traveling, trying new foods. For me, food is such an important part of the travel experience. When I'm on vacation, I love visiting local markets and trying traditional dishes. It's a great way to connect with the culture and discover new flavors.
I'm with you on that. I love food, and when I'm traveling, it's always one of the highlights of the trip. Whether it's street food or a fancy restaurant, I make it a point to try the local cuisine. I think it tells you a lot about a place, and it's an adventure in itself.
Absolutely. I've had some of my best meals while traveling, especially when I step outside my comfort zone and try something completely new. And food is such a universal experience, it's something everyone can enjoy, no matter where you are.
That's true, and sometimes the most unexpected places have the best food. I've had amazing meals in little roadside cafes or street food stalls that I would have never known about if I hadn't taken a chance and tried something new.
Exactly. It's those spontaneous food experiences that often stand out the most. And it's also a great way to interact with locals. Asking for recommendations or learning about a dish's history can open up conversations and help you learn more about the culture.
Yes, food really does bring people together. Whether you're sitting in a busy market or having a quiet dinner in a small restaurant, sharing a meal is a way to connect with others and make your vacation even more memorable.
And when you're talking about your ideal vacation, mentioning the kinds of foods you'd like to try or the dining experiences you're looking forward to can give people a real sense of what your trip will be like. Now let's talk about something a little different off the beaten path: destinations. Sometimes the best vacations happen in places that aren't as well known or touristy. For me, I love discovering hidden gems, places that aren't flooded with tourists but still have something special to offer.
I completely agree. While it's great to visit famous landmarks and popular destinations, I think there's something exciting about going somewhere a little less traveled. You often get a more authentic experience because the place isn't catering to tourists. Plus, it's usually quieter and more relaxed.
Exactly. I think traveling off the beaten path gives you a chance to see the real heart of a place, beyond the big attractions. It's also a way to support smaller, local businesses and get a better understanding of the local culture.
That's a great point. When I travel, I always try to visit at least one place that's a little less known. It might be a small town or a nature spot that's not on the typical tourist map, but it often ends up being the highlight of my trip.
I've had the same experience. Some of my favorite travel memories are from places that weren't in any guidebooks. It's like discovering a secret treasure that only a few people know about.
And when you talk about your ideal vacation, sharing that you like to explore off the beaten path destinations can really show your adventurous side and your interest in seeing more than just the typical tourist spots.
Exactly. It shows that you're curious and open to new experiences, and that you value deeper connections with the places you visit. It's a great way to make your vacation feel more personal and unique. Now let's dive into another important aspect of travel cultural experiences. When I go on vacation, I always try to immerse myself in the local culture. This might mean visiting museums, attending festivals, or participating in traditional activities. For me, understanding the culture of a place enhances the overall experience and makes it more meaningful.
I completely agree. Experiencing the local culture is one of the best parts of traveling. Whether it's learning a traditional dance, trying a cooking class, or participating in local customs, these experiences create lasting memories. They give you a deeper appreciation for the place you're visiting.
Absolutely. I think engaging with the local culture helps you connect with the community and gain a better understanding of their values and traditions. It also opens the door to meeting new people and making friends along the way.
Exactly. I remember when I visited Mexico, I participated in a local festival. It was such a fantastic experience to see the celebrations up close, and it allowed me to connect with the locals in a way that I wouldn't have if I had just visited the tourist attractions.
That sounds amazing. Festivals are such a vibrant way to experience a culture. And it's true, those moments often become the highlights of our trips. When discussing your ideal vacation, mentioning cultural experiences shows that you're open-minded and curious about learning from others.
Definitely. It reflects a desire to grow and understand the world better, which is a beautiful aspect of travel. It's not just about seeing new places, it's about expanding your horizons and enriching your life through new experiences.
And those cultural experiences often lead to stories that you can share with others long after the trip is over. They add depth to your travel narrative, making it all the more special. Next, let's discuss planning versus spontaneity when it comes to vacations. Some people love meticulously planning every detail of their trip, while others prefer to be spontaneous and go with the flow. I find a mix of both works best for me. Having a rough itinerary helps, but leaving room for spontaneity can lead to some incredible experiences.
I completely understand that balance. I usually like to plan the major aspects, like flights and accommodation, but I leave my daily activities more open-ended. This way, I can explore and see what catches my interest. Sometimes, the best experiences come from unexpected opportunities.
Exactly. For instance, if I have a free afternoon, I might stumble upon a local market or a hidden cafe that I wouldn't have found if I'd stuck strictly to a plan. Those moments are often the most memorable and enjoyable.
Right. I remember one time when I traveled to Spain, I had a whole day planned out, but I met some locals who invited me to join them for a tapas tour. I decided to go with them instead, and it turned out to be one of the best nights of my trip. I got to learn about their culture in a way that I never would have experienced on my own.
That's such a great story. It highlights how being open to change can lead to amazing opportunities while traveling. When you're talking about your ideal vacation, expressing your approach to planning and spontaneity shows your flexibility and eagerness to embrace new experiences.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that balance that works for you. Whether you prefer a well-planned itinerary or enjoy the thrill of spontaneity, both approaches can lead to wonderful adventures.
And that balance adds a layer of excitement to your trip. Each day can be a mix of planned activities and spontaneous adventures, making for a rich and diverse experience. Now, let's talk about learning new skills while traveling. One of the things I love about vacations is the opportunity to pick up new hobbies or skills. Whether it's learning how to cook a traditional dish, practicing a new language, or trying a new sport, travel can be a fantastic way to expand your abilities.
I totally agree. Learning something new while traveling is a great way to enhance the experience. For instance, when I visited Italy, I took a cooking class where I learned how to make pasta from scratch. It was so much fun, and now I can recreate those dishes at home.
That sounds amazing. Cooking classes are such a hands-on way to connect with a culture. I also love trying new activities while traveling, like taking a surf lesson or participating in a local craft workshop. It's a fantastic way to dive deeper into the local culture while also enjoying a fun experience.
Absolutely. And these new skills can enrich our lives even after we return home. I still make that pasta I learned to make in Italy, and it reminds me of my travels every time I cook it. That's a great point. It's like bringing a piece of your travel experience back with you. Plus, talking about the skills you want to learn on your ideal vacation shows your enthusiasm for personal growth and new experiences. Exactly. It reflects your openness to trying new things and your desire to make the most of your travel adventures. Learning something new adds another layer to the vacation experience and can lead to lifelong skills or interests.
And it's a great conversation starter too. Sharing your experiences and what you learned while traveling can inspire others to step outside their comfort zones and try something new on their trips. Let's shift our focus to activities that make up an ideal vacation. For me, a perfect vacation includes a mix of relaxation and adventure. I love lounging on a beach with a good book, but I also enjoy exploring new places and participating in fun activities like snorkeling or hiking.
That sounds like a fantastic balance. I'm similar. I enjoy having both downtime and exciting activities. When I travel, I love going on guided tour to learn more about the area. It's a great way to immerse myself in the local history while also getting a taste of adventure.
Definitely, guided tour can offer insights that you might miss on your own, and it's nice to have someone knowledgeable leading the way. I also enjoy spontaneous adventures, like renting bikes to explore a city or hiking to a viewpoint.
Yes, exploring on your own can lead to unexpected discoveries. Sometimes the most memorable moments come from simply wandering around a new place and seeing what you find.
That's so true. And when discussing your ideal vacation activities, it's great to highlight the mix of relaxation and adventure. It shows you have a well-rounded approach to travel and enjoy a variety of experiences.
Exactly. It reflects your personality and interests, making your travel narrative more engaging. Whether it's adventure, relaxation, or a combination of both, it all contributes to the overall experience.
And sharing those activities can inspire others to think about what they enjoy doing on vacations, encouraging them to create their own unique experiences. Next, let's discuss how we document our travel experiences. I find that keeping a travel journal or blogging about my trips helps me remember the details of my adventures. It's a fun way to reflect on the experiences and share them with friends and family.
I love that idea. I usually take a ton of photos and make a photo album when I get back. It's a great way to capture the memories visually, and looking back at the photos always brings back the feelings of the trip.
Absolutely, photos are such a powerful way to remember a vacation. I also enjoy sharing my experiences on social media. It's nice to connect with others who have traveled to the same places and hear their stories too.
Definitely, social media allows for a broader reach and you can inspire others with your adventures. But I also value the personal touch of a travel journal. Writing about my experiences helps me process them and solidifies the memories.
That's a great point. Documenting our travels, whether through writing or photography, enhances the experience. It encourages us to pay attention to details and appreciate the moments as they happen.
Exactly. And when you're talking about your ideal vacation, sharing how you plan to document the experience adds a thoughtful dimension. It shows your appreciation for the journey and your desire to hold on to those memories.
And those documented experiences can also serve as valuable resources for future travelers, helping others plan their own adventures. As we wrap up our discussion on ideal vacations, let's reflect on how travel experiences shape us. Every trip teaches us something new about ourselves and the world. I find that travel pushes me out of my comfort zone, and I often come back with a new perspective.
That's such a profound thought. I agree. Traveling allows us to grow and learn in ways we never expected. It broadens our horizons and gives us a deeper appreciation for different cultures and lifestyles.
Exactly. Each trip brings its own challenges and rewards. Overcoming language barriers, navigating new environments, or trying unfamiliar foods can be intimidating, but ultimately enriching experiences.
Yes, and when we talk about our ideal vacations, it's important to recognize the transformative power of travel. It's not just about the sights we see, it's also about the growth we experience along the way.
Thank you for joining us today as we talked about our ideal vacations. We hope this conversation has inspired you to think about your own travel dreams and the experiences you'd like to have. Remember, vacations are about more than just the destination. They're about the memories, growth, and joy they bring. Don't forget to subscribe.
And we'll see you in the next episode where we continue helping you improve your English skills through fun, engaging conversations, safe travels, and until next time.